Alright, hey guys, me again. You know who I am. And today, I've been thinking, so we're getting a new machete stance pretty soon here. Let's update my Nami solo build, because Nami solo, right here, is probably the best machete by a long shot in the game. So, it's the only machete here that has a decent critical chance compared to, say, the Gazelle machete has 10%, and this has 5%, this has 5%, and this also has 5%. And then it also has a pretty decent status chance as well, being 25% tied with the Gazelle machete. Now, it has a lower damage than the Gazelle machete and a slightly lower attack speed, but that critical chance and that status chance are really what's going to carry this weapon into being probably the best machete in the game. And the only other one I'd even consider is probably the Provo Vandal, because of it also being pure elemental and having a decent status chance, but has a higher status chance, higher crit. This is the best machete in the game right now. It is also very comparable to another weapon that we all know and love, and that is the Prisma Skana. Now, the Prisma Skana has the same amount of damage. It has a slightly higher critical chance, but it has less than double the status chance. And it also has a lower spin attack damage, but that doesn't matter. What the Prisma Skana has going for it is it can use Crimson Dervish, so that 3 times damage, although at the cost of essentially attack speed, because this has a really slow attack animation as far as stances go. I sold my Vengeful Revenant, and I don't really like that stance. And then now it also has the Bright Purity Augment, which adds 100% melee damage. Now to that, I would have to say, well, on the Nami solo, in place of that, you could use Spoiled Strike. Now, since there's not a slow like attacking stance for the machete, since the machete stance is actually pretty fast, the one that we have in the game right now. And I don't know what the new one's going to be like, but this is not really hurting me that much compared to the Prisma Skana. Now, since it also has a decent enough status chance, I can also add Weeping Wounds, and that will essentially almost make my status chance essentially like 100% on every hit. And Thunderweave also has like multipliers within its block combo, but they're not as high as Crimson Dervish, and that sort of doesn't really matter, and I'll quickly show you why in a minute. There's 2 different types of builds you can actually run with the Nami solo. Now, you could also use Condition Overload in place of these 2 mines, and I'll show you that in a minute. But for right now, I'll just use Spoiled Strike. Give it a similar build to the Prisma Skana, although I don't have Weeping Wounds on the Prisma Skana, even though it's not very status heavy, but I don't have enough room to put it on to compare the 2. So I think I'm just going to take this off anyways. Just have a fair comparison between the 2 weapons. Alright, so we're going to start out with the Prisma Skana. Now, I will be using the block combo, which does have finishers in Crimson Dervish. So, we should see something like a little slightly lower time to kill than the Nami solo. However, I'm going to show you how we can make that up very quickly. And now, both of these weapons also work very well with the Narmon focus school, giving them that stealth multiplier, that stealth damage. On top of that, basically making me not take a whole lot of damage against that heavy gunner. So let's go. We got a 1 level heavy gun, 1 heavy gunner here. All right, so 33 hits on the Prisma Skana. All right, now we're gonna take our Nami solo. Basically the same build, although I have Spoiled Strike in place of Bright Purity, and we're gonna do the same test. All right, that took a little longer for me to get in the Narmon, but I can sort of let this heavy gunner bleed out here, but I'm just going to keep spamming anyways. So 46 hits. So that's a little bit more than the Prisma Skana. However, if we trade out Spoiled Strike for something like Condition Overload, which will basically give me plus 60% melee damage for every status type that is affecting the target. So, corrosive, it'll basically proc all the physical damage types on my weapon. Especially if I form this another time and add Weeping Wounds here. This will be a pretty solid build overall. Now watch this. "23 hits. Much faster, although I could have let the target bleed out and that would have been even less hits because of the status chance on this weapon. But I think these weapons are pretty even. And especially that status chance is really going to carry this weapon through endgame. So that now when it comes to like a group of enemies, and say if we let status build up on those targets. So if we just add, like, say, let's add a Spoiled Strike here, and we're also going to add Weeping Wounds. Now if we let our status build up like further and further, this is gonna basically out DPS the Prisma Skana eventually, which is why I think this is personally better than the Prisma Skana right now, especially being it like low cost. It's in the market, so it's always available. Has pretty low build cost, Master Rank 0. Although, if we're going to compare it to other Master Rank 0 melee weapons, we'd have to compare it to the Nakana Prime. But obviously, Nakana Prime is going to best these two weapons in general, since Nakana Prime has a higher critical chance and a slightly lower status chance, 20% critical chance and 20% status chance. On top of that, having higher damage output. So yeah. Now I'm going to take this same build. Right, now I don't have enough form to put on Weeping Wounds on the Prisma Skana, though I don't think it's gonna edge it out too much, but it could. So I'm gonna have the similar builds between the two weapons. Now instead of going against one heavy gunner, I'm gonna add in 5 more. All right, so let's add in 6 of these guys. We want 6, and I'm also gonna allow Valkyrie to use her Warcry ability, which is gonna significantly speed up the results of the test, basically. Increase our attack speed. Slow down the enemies a little bit. Basically, so we can get this done a lot faster. I can essentially just do 2 slam combos here. And that should just let the target bleed out. Yeah, they're already dying. Since that corrosive is really hurting my target, my damage is going higher and higher. And the slash is really getting into them and ignoring their defenses altogether. Which is very nice. So that's 165 hits. Could have been higher if I just spammed the target and not let the status take over. But, alright. Now we're going to have a similar build on the Prisma Skana. And I will use the block combo that will allow it to give it finishers. And let's go. I'm getting red crits already now. Now we're already got more hits than the Nami solo. About 204. And I believe that's the same multiplier. But yeah, 204 hits. Versus the lower amount of hits. I don't remember what the Nami solo hits had. But I think that since, especially with that status chance is really going to carry this weapon, or the Nami solo through, say, endgame. If you want a Prisma Skana that has more status chance but slightly lower crit chance, I think you should pick up the Nami solo. And Nami solo definitely going to be probably the best by far. machete in the game right now. Now, if we compare that again, let's also take condition overload. And let's take remove out weeping wounds. Oh god. Oh man. Oh Jesus. I didn't think the damage would be this high. Oh man. That is sub 100 hits there with the Nami solo with condition overload. That's pretty nuts. I'm actually going to put condition overload on the Prisma Skana. Actually, I don't have enough room right now. I'm doing this because I'm going to be using Gaku's Warcry. And it should hit our attack speed cap anyway, so attack speed should be similar overall. Yeah, okay, we got 100 hits. Yeah, so that's more hits on the Prisma Skana. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.